I threw away my marriage for an affair and lost my daughters in the process, but now that I have a new life and a new family, I can't tell if I've actually changed or if I'm just trying to convince myself I have. I, 42M, know I'm going to get a lot of crap for the absurd age gap and the way my girlfriend, 25M, and I started. And I agree and I deserve it, but I would really like some genuine advice past going to counseling. She won't agree and I can't afford it anyways. Tangible things that I can work on and introduce to help us get through this either as a couple or as effective co-parents. Long story short, my ex-wife and I were together since middle school. We have 4 daughters in their teens. I was a stay-at-home dad and part-time worker for most of my life until my youngest was in middle school. My ex agreed to invest in a passion project business of mine. I hired a receptionist. We started an affair and she baby-trapped me. Now we're living together and have a young son. She resents me because she feels like she was fooled. She saw me as a business owner who had a nice car, nice clothes, took her to nice places, etc. She thought I was rich, so she got pregnant on purpose, admitted it, not an assumption, hoping to use me to not work and sponsor her family from overseas. Well, actually my ex-wife and her family are the rich ones. None of our homes were in our names. We were renting from her parents and giving them a nominal fee with the expectation that these homes would be left to my ex and me after their death. This allowed my ex's salary, about $150,000, which is not huge in the high-call area, to stretch, and we lived a really good life. I left our marriage with half our savings, $25,000, and my personal property and car. I lost my business due to lack of funding and I did not seek alimony. I resent my girlfriend because I feel I was fooled. I thought she loved me and couldn't believe the interest a young, hot woman showed in me. She was incredibly persistent and pursued me strongly. But she has no feelings for me, no care or desire. Now that the ruse is dropped, I can't believe I gave up my entire life for what I see was an ego trip. I loved my ex-wife, really I did and still do. But I had never been with another woman and any attempts to open our relationship were shot down. This was like a wet dream come true and I was weak. Now both me and my girlfriend are in a place we didn't imagine. She's living in a crappy apartment rooming with an old man and still has to work. I've lost my kids, the love of my life, my family, my lifestyle, my business, and it's all 100% my own fault. She stopped being intimate with me as soon as she found out I wasn't rich. We're still together on my end because I feel like I need to have something to show for this crap show of a situation. At least I got a son and a partner out of it. At least it wasn't for nothing. And also because I don't trust her with our son. She would never agree to give me full custody and she's not a good mother. I would be worried for his safety and the people she would have him around. I honestly don't know why she hasn't left me from her end. What can I do to improve this situation? I know logically it would be best to break up and co-parent, but I'm afraid for my son and I'm embarrassed for myself. Is there a way to salvage this situation? I'm thinking of just telling her we can have an open relationship. She can sleep with whoever she wants and go wherever she wants as long as she lives here, so I can have my son 100% of the time. I work from home. I don't know if that's the answer here though. New post, 1 week later. How can I build my relationship back up with my 4 daughters after an affair? I had an affair, my ex-wife divorced me and my kids absolutely refused to speak to me. I was an incredibly involved dad. Most of their lives I worked 1 to 2 days a week and then stayed home with them the rest. I was closer to them than their mom and I'd like to think I've never disappointed them before this. I made a mistake. It's been over 2 years since it all came out and I haven't been able to make any headway. My eldest is hung up on the fact that I now have a young son. Every firstborn of each generation in my family has been a boy for a long time and she broke the streak. I honestly could not care less about that. I've always thought that pressure was stupid and I'm not a traditionally masculine guy that always wanted a boy. But she's so hurt that I have a son and is convinced that's all I've ever wanted and he's replaced her and my daughters. None of that is true. All of my girls said they don't consider themselves to have a brother and want nothing to do with him. All 4 of them feel betrayed and blame me for breaking up our family. I deserve the blame, it's my fault and I take responsibility. But I can't change the past and I don't know how I can begin making up for it. My ex has full custody of them but I'm supposed to have visitation 1 weekend a month. They're all in therapy and it was suggested to not enforce the visitation and respect their boundaries while they work through it. I've done that the entire time and there's no progress made. Does anyone have any suggestions about what I can do here? My ex absolutely hates me but was always supportive of the girls staying in contact with me. She's respected their wishes but still gives me updates once in a while. My eldest is turning 18 soon and graduating this coming year and probably moving away for university. I feel like the time to make up with her especially is slipping away. I know I'm the crappy person here. I was a terrible husband but I was honestly a really good dad and I miss my girls. Has anyone been through something like this? How did it turn out? What are your suggestions? Update, 3 months later. Good news, my girlfriend and I have broken up. She has gone back to her home country and left my son with me. She refused to sign any formal custody agreement so I'm hoping she stays there and doesn't bother us again. I'm pretty sure if she comes back and demands time with him I have a good case for maintaining custody. She's not even interested in FaceTiming with him so he remembers her. I feel bad that my son will deal with a crappy and absent mother but I hope I can get him into therapy as he grows. Bad news, I've tried my best to insist on visitation with my daughters and that has fallen through. They absolutely refuse to see me. They wrote me a letter together that says how much they hate me, how betrayed they feel, how they'll never forgive me and how my son will never be their brother. To not even bother telling him about them because they'll never be interested in knowing him. Just to forget about them altogether and move on with my new family. I have no legal recourse. The youngest is 13 now, old enough to have a say in custody arrangements. And I don't think forcing them to see me would do me any favors long term anyways. They also included pictures of their mother's wedding. My ex has no obligation to tell me about her personal life, but I'm pretty pissed that there is a man living with my daughters that I didn't know about. It is a family friend that has been in their lives for over 10 years, so not a total stranger, but still hurt to see pictures of their recent wedding and family pictures with my daughters. They mentioned that they have a father figure and don't need me anyways. The whole thing really hurt. I know I have no right to feel hurt that my ex has moved on when I cheated on her. But their whole relationship has moved very fast, so I'm now wondering if they started it before we got divorced. No way to know now. Doesn't matter anyways. My ex agreed to keep me up to date and send pictures of my daughters once in a while. After dealing with my son's mom, I'm grateful she is so good to our girls and I don't have to worry about their well-being. I'm trying to focus on being a good dad to my son and patiently waiting for my girls to grow up and reach out. It may never happen, but I'm hopeful that they will understand me more as they become adults and gain context for life. New update: 3 years later, I've been away for several years. I won't bore you with any of the details. I deleted my old account because I was too embarrassed to ever come back to it. I was in a tough place and wasn't in my right mind. I took the advice I was given. I left my daughters alone and have not heard from them since, which is understandable. I did finally get myself in therapy and realized what a gross piece of crap I was to the 5 most important people in the world to me at the time. In the end, I came to the conclusion that I needed to accept the fact that they were simply gone. 7 months after their final contact, I wrote my ex-wife an email saying that I did not want any further updates on their lives and that I would never contact any of them again. She agreed and stopped sending me emails shortly afterwards. It was painful for a long while, and I thought I'd just punish myself forever. I agree with the general conclusion of the commenters that I was and am a narcissist, and in retrospect I probably had no business being a father. I began to read books more often in an effort to gain perspective, in between taking care of my son and doing the best I could to make sure I appreciated how horrible I was and probably still am. 5 months ago, one of the regulars at my place of business took an interest in me and asked me for my number. I was pretty wary for obvious reasons, but I agreed. Knowing how prone I am to being an utter jerk to everyone I care about, I was pretty upfront with her that I had cheated on my ex-wife and had no contact with my former family. I figured that would kill her interest, but surprisingly not. She did end up interrogating me pretty harshly over it, which I let her do because I definitely needed to be dressed down over it by someone besides my therapist. So now she and her 7-year-old daughter, she was widowed 3 years ago, are with me in their house with my son, and we seem to be tentatively forming a new family. I am very paranoid about something going wrong, so whenever I'm not working I always go straight to their place or mine and ask her to come over. I like to think I have learned my lesson, but many said on here to me that cheaters usually relapse. I have had zero desire to do so, but can a person truly change like that? I hope so. I will not cheat on her, I know it, but my past haunts me when I think about it. If my son ever asks me how things came to be, I'll tell him the truth when he's old enough to understand. We may not be a family by blood, but the 4 of us are a family. And I will always be there for both of my kids. One thing that bothers me is how detached I feel from my previous family. I can honestly say I don't love any of my former daughters anymore, and they obviously don't love me. And that's fine. I feel completely at peace with it. My son, his new sibling, and his new mother are my second chance, and I have embraced it. But what does that say about me? I spent 16 years with them, and in less than 3 I have been able to completely emotionally detach from them. I have made it a point not to use social media so they can't see my new life, and my girlfriend shares my disdain for it. But aside from that, our existences do not affect one another anymore. They have a new father and role model, and I have a new family. It is done. That is all I have to say, Reddit. Now feel free to tell me to FCK off, since I deserve it.